Welcome into No Punt Intended, presented by Club Fantasy. I'm your host, Joe Zollo, and we are back with another ADP values and busts, rounds 9 through 12. Another set of fairly crucial rounds for especially folks that play in deeper leagues, as we're starting to see more 3, 4, even 5 flex spot positions available in sub leagues. This is where you're going to find your back end starters. And we have a special guest joining us today. I won't say anything until the face is shown on the screen. Not even going to reveal the gender, right? That's how mysterious we're going to keep it for the next, how long is the intro? 27. So like 35 seconds by the time I wrap this up, and then the video's done. And then we go into the show starting right now. Welcome into No Punt Intended, presented by Club Fantasy. I'm your host, Joe Zollo. Josh Ryan, as always.
Yo.
And then once a year, once a season, Miss Kendall Valenzuela, how are you?
Hello. Good. How are you guys doing? Glad to be back.
Glad to have you.
Fantastic.
I
It's
like
always
his-
better.
I
It's always
know.
better when Kendall's on.
I love being here. I like
that.
that he was just like, Josh, Ryan, hi. But we're here. We're ready. I'm excited.
That's what we get every single
That's
week.
all
This
you
is what
get, yeah.
this
It's
is what
fine.
we deal with, Kendall.
That's actually that's rather nice
That's a good
for
one,
what he
yeah,
normally says about us. So.
Yeah, usually it's these two idiots,
Amazing.
We're the presence of a woman, okay? I'm going to be
That's
my
right.
most respectful self.
Right,
tonight,
right.
Properly.
Until we start talking about, oh shit, Travis Etienne. He's the first guy we're talking about. So until we start talking about Travis Etienne, that's when
Fair.
I'll start being angry about it. Okay. Before we get into that, NFL news. Anybody have anything? No? Because it's the first week of
Tristan
July.
Wirfs. I did see that come through. He's likely to
Sure.
start on the PUP list heading into the season, which of course would have been nice to know when we recorded our Tampa Bay Buccaneers preview yesterday. We'll be dropping on Monday, but yeah. That's definitely not good for Baker and that Bucs offense. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Agree.
Nah. So
Yeah.
who needs a left tackle, right?
Yeah, right.
Who needs it?
Who needs one? Before we dive into these, again, these are ADP values as we're doing this. For those who have not seen any of the previous shows, we go 12 team, half point PPR, ADP. It's based off of underdog. We use underdog because that's where the degenerates play fantasy football in July. That's
Really
just
in
what happens.
February, let's be honest.
Yeah.
It starts
Right after
pretty-
the Super
pretty
Bowl.
early.
I mean, at any point in time, that's when the degens are really playing. When as we say, the casuals are not normally playing in the months of May, June, July when we are doing these shows. So it is off best ball as well. These are not redrafts, so you may see some rookies that have some slightly inflated values, but I say slightly in the nicest way possible because some of them are insanely inflated.
Well, they'll be getting called out this entire show.
Of course they will, as they should. But they'll have inflated values, so do realize that come your redrafts, that may not be the case, and these will start to even out and be a little more respective, probably starting in the middle of August. Around that time frame, you'll start seeing more and more efficient redraft ADPs than you do right now. But we use Underdog. Promo code WOFF, first time deposit and free pick up to $1,000 cash. So if you really feel like throwing $1,000 in your Underdog account and betting it and you lose, I always tell you this every week. Guess what? You didn't lose it. You just have to win the next 1,000 to make sure you win the 1,000 back, but you didn't lose money technically, right? So free money, it's just like a 401k employer match, except it doesn't compound on each other and you can't take it out at age 68. You basically lose it when you bet on it. But I encourage you, go to Underdog. It's fantastic. Rounds 9 through 12. We're going to start in round 9. These rounds suck. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm just looking just early on, like some of they're not great. We're gonna go best and worst values.
When I was skimming these for players, I was like, "There's exactly one guy I want from like each of these rounds," which means this is gonna be rough if I get sniped. So.
Yeah, I can make noises on my opinions as we go through these guys. But Travis Etienne is the first pick of the 9th round. He is RB 33. Brock Purdy is QB 12. Mark Andrews, tight end 7. Dak Prescott, Darnell Mooney, the first receiver off the board at the 9-5 at wide receiver 48. Najee Harris, Jared Goff, Evan Ingram, Michael Pittman, Jordan Mason, now in Minnesota. He's the 10th pick of the 9th round. Cam Scatabo, the rookie. And another rookie, Emeka Egbuka, is the wide receiver 50, rounding out the 9th round. We always love being positive on this show. So let's start with the best values in round 9. And I see next to Najee Harris's name, it says thumbnail, which means to me that we're supposed to talk about him first.
Oh, Joe, you are a professional, buddy.
Mid-season form.
Already.
Listen,
I had to do everything last night before Kendall got on here because I had to work this morning. So I had to steal the thumbnail this week.
I had to work this morning too, Josh. Damn. For those that don't know, that tells me, hey, Joe, talk about this idiot first. Najee Harris is currently going smack dab middle of the 9th round. The guy who they drafted, Omarion Hampton, is going hella much higher than Najee Harris, which I feel like that makes too much sense because I don't think Najee Harris is that far out of actually getting starting reps, Josh, is he?
No, I mean, look, Najee Harris is coming off of 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons. I get it. None of those 1,000-yard seasons were really sexy by any means. The Steelers' offensive ecosystem was just god-awful over those 4 years that he was there. So the fact that he even got to 1,000 yards, I think, is pretty damn impressive, truthfully. But, you know, when Omarion Hampton was coming into the league, my comp for him was a fast Najee Harris. So, like, pairing him on the same backfield makes all the sense in the world. The Chargers were 31st in the NFL in targets to the running back position. That is the staple of a Greg Roman offense. And I've said this for what feels like 3 months now. They're not throwing to the running back. So Omarion Hampton needs 70% of the running back share, over 1,200 yards and 10 plus touchdowns to pay off at his ADP. He's not getting that with Najee Harris there. So if that's the case, why not just take Najee 5 rounds later? And we talked about this yesterday, which will be coming out on Monday when we were talking about the Bucs and Rachaad White. Najee Harris is a good pass blocker. You know who aren't typically good pass blockers? Rookie running backs coming into the NFL.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
There you go. Omarion Hampton in college football last year was the 42nd among running backs in pass block rate per PFF. Najee was 11th, and he was 5th in true pass block sets. He is a good pass blocker. And you know what's the most important thing for the Chargers offense? Keep Justin Herbert upright and healthy.
Yeah.
You put a talented pass blocker there, not a rookie who doesn't know what he's doing. So Najee Harris is going to be on the field. This is going to be a split backfield. I will happily admit that. So at that point, take the better value. Don't reach assuming that Omarion Hampton is just going to lap Najee because Najee doesn't get hurt. The dude's built like a Mack truck.
Until you just said that this year.
Yeah, don't clip that. Don't.
Yeah, right?
Don't do it.
That's why I never put anything in writing, Kendall. I say you have to go back and watch all the videos.
Watch all my shows.
I know what I said. So you have to go back and watch it. And that's why nobody ever calls me out. It's fantastic.
Exactly. I love that. I love that.
Anybody have any other thoughts on Najee? I mean, he does feel kind of stupid that he's this low at this point.
I love Najee Harris. I agree. I agree with everything Josh said. Like, I like him. I do agree though, 1A, 1B, and there could be a chance, you know, when those rookies later, mid-half, back half of the season, maybe we see a little bit more of a takeover because I do like Omarion Hampton just overall as a rookie. But when the Chargers finished 24th in rushing success rate last year, it feels like they're going to try and do a bit better this year. And I think that Najee Harris can be that guy. So I like it.
Yeah.
Staying in the backfield, Kendall, yours is Jordan Mason. He comes over from the 49ers, is now, I guess you could say, the backup to Aaron Jones in Minnesota, but I'm interested to see your take on this. Aaron Jones, not exactly the model of health either.
No. And he's 31 in December. I will say, like, I loved Jordan Mason. We always have our guys like months ago, and he was a lot cheaper. So I saw his name and I was like, okay, I could talk more about Cam Scatterbo, but I feel like everyone knows where I stand on him. But Jordan Mason, for me, I feel it's like a good 1A, 1B, 1-2 punch for Minnesota, because I just don't know if Aaron Jones continues with the workload that he had last season. And he was really damn good. Like, I had him on a lot of my teams and it was fantastic. But again, you get another year older. And I feel like when you bring Jordan Mason in, 789 yards, 3 touchdowns in 12 games when CMC was down, I just feel like that kind of could lighten the workload a little bit more for Aaron Jones there. And so you could put more on Jordan Mason. And then we never want injuries to happen. But if Aaron Jones were to ever go down, then you get this huge roll and uptick in usage for Jordan Mason going forward. So he's someone I like. Again, I will say a bit more expensive to be looked at, where he's going right now. He was a lot, of course, all these guys were a lot cheaper months ago, but I still really like the potential that he has in this backfield.
Another interesting thing, he recovered well last year, but I also think this was a product of them not having a good backup. Aaron Jones had some fumble issues last year as well. And if he continues as he gets older to put the ball on the turf, that's going to open more doors for Mason as well.
Yeah, they didn't have anyone behind him. It was Cam Akers with like 300 rushing yards or something. Like, they just couldn't. No one's going to go to Cam Akers when you're fumbling. They'll just say, "Oh, we'll keep letting you go out there." So I agree.
Yeah, Aaron Jones has only had 3 fully healthy seasons out of 8.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, the odds are he's going to get hurt and miss time. And
even if he doesn't, if the Vikings are smart, they're going to use him less. Like, you don't.
Yeah, I mean, well, and that's really what Green Bay did. And we were, of course, everybody's like, feed Aaron Jones. He's so efficient. Give him the football. He's so great. Like, we get that. But part of what made him so good was the splitting of the carries. So if you're able to get back to that and utilize Jordan Mason as sort of an in-between the tackles hammer and let Aaron Jones get out on the edge and in space where he's averaging over 5 yards per carry, they can both be very fantasy viable. And in the 9th round, like, you get a potential RB2. Like, come on, I'll take that.
Exactly.
All day.
Yes.
Marky Mark and the fun bunch, Ryan. Why'd you have to pick the tight end? There was 11 other players to pick.
I knew you were going to get angry.
Well, you just like, it's
my other option, Joe. Let me tell you my exact thing here. My other option here was Travis Etienne. I'm like, Joe's just going to cry about whoever I pick.
That's wrong. That's just wrong. That's wrong.
But I kind of just went by my rankings, and this round actually feels very appropriate to my rankings. I wasn't too mad outside of the rookies that we'll get to in a moment. But when I look at the tight ends, if I don't land one of the top 2, I've just felt like Andrews has been a value in every draft I've been in so far, and the 9th round kind of speaks to that. The tight ends, we've talked about this. You either have one of the top 2 guys or you have the field, and you don't want to pay up for the field. And the 9th round is not paying up for a guy who could easily be the tight end 3 this season. I understand George Kittle looked really good last year, but George Kittle also kind of roller coasters, which means he might not look great this year. Travis Kelce obviously had a little bit of a down year, as did Andrews, but Andrews is still younger than Kelce, and I expect we're going to see a little bit more of a bounce back this year. He had some really, really good weeks last season, and they were clouded by a very, very tumultuous end of the season. And so once we get to this round, 9th round, if I didn't spend an early pick on Bowers and McBride, Andrews just feels like the right pick here is someone who can give me not their tier, but the tier right below for a far cheaper price than people are paying for Kittle and even Kelce, Laporta. Those guys are all going ahead of Andrews here. So
nobody wanted to show love to Darnell Mooney here.
No.
We talked about this though, like Mooney, and I don't remember who we were talking about, but Mooney, Rashid Shaheed, these are guys who at ADP, they're appropriately priced. They could just do really well certain weeks, but at the end of the season, Mooney's probably the wide receiver 48, plain and simple. So.
I'll say this about Andrews. The 2 things that we look for with tight ends, volume and touchdown potential, right? 4 out of 7 years, Mark Andrews has scored 7 or more touchdowns.
Yeah, led tight ends in touchdowns last season.
And exactly. I mean, he had 11 touchdowns last year. Lamar Jackson is very efficient when he throws the football. Like, his touchdown interception ratio is one of the best among active quarterbacks. And who's the guy that's scoring the receiving touchdowns in that Baltimore offense? It's Mark Andrews. It's
Rashad
not,
Bateman.
It's not, midget wrestling Zay Flowers. Let's be real here. Like it's the tall guy in the red zone.
Yeah, and Lamar Jackson has his comfortability. Until Mark Andrews isn't there, that's Lamar Jackson's first look, plain and simple.
Mm-hmm.
Worst values. I don't know if I'm surprised or I feel like they're right. I'm going to go in reverse order because I started with Josh and then went to Kendall. Then I'm going to go to Ryan. So we're going to start in reverse order. So Josh, change that 15 mark to next to Emeka Egbuka there, big guy, as you're typing here in the chat. I feel like this is appropriate for Egbuka at 50.
To me, it's the same situation as like Darnell Mooney. But for me, I don't even have him. I am a full believer that Chris Godwin's going to be fine. Everybody knows I adore Mike Evans. I don't see a situation where Egbuka comes in and just takes over. And while 50 feels cheap, the 9th round doesn't. Clearly, we're just drafting a lot more wide receivers than we're drafting running backs right now because there's like a 17-place discrepancy in this round. I see the talent for Emeka Egbuka. I just think it's going to take a season because I don't see them forcing him in here. They have 2 elite wide receivers. If I'm wrong about Godwin, I'm wrong about this pick. That's for sure. But this is just kind of setting up the theme for the show. Joe, I've never corrected you on this, or I guess not really corrected, but argued with you on this, where you said, as we get closer to redraft, maybe things are going to get back to normal. We live in such a heavy ADP society right now. I don't know if it's going to. I think these rookies are going to continue to be overpriced, and I'm not going to touch the vast majority of them. I just don't feel like they are appropriately priced. Right now in my rankings, I have Egbuka as my wide receiver 70. So this is a huge overpay, but I have him at 60 targets, whereas I have Mike Evans at 120. I just don't see him making the big splash as a rookie, and you can just cut that clip and repeat it for my next 5 rounds that we're going to talk about. I don't see it, especially on this team where they are going to establish the running game and they have 2 elite wide receivers. I'm just not paying these rookie prices.
Get his ass, Kendall. I feel like you disagree.
I think that he's priced appropriately, at least right now, right? Because you're not, and that's the whole thing with the price, right? Because you're paying, what you're paying for. You're not going to get Emeka Egbuka. And if anyone's watching, if you draft him, you're not like, oh, great, I got Emeka Egbuka, I'm putting him in my week 1 lineups. But I feel like on the other side, there's a lot of outs, that could happen really abruptly. Yeah. And I'm with you, Ryan. Like Mike Evans, it's like the same thing with Derrick Henry for me. I'm like, he's always going to be good until he decides to retire. And that's something that could happen with Mike Evans, but he also is 32. So the age cliff can come so quickly. And it's the same thing with Chris Godwin. I believe he's good for week 1, but after they drafted Emeka Egbuka, the organization came out and said, well, it gives Chris Godwin time. He doesn't have to rush back. And so if you say that, I'm like, okay, I'm hoping he doesn't have to rush back, but I think for his price, I like Emeka Egbuka, but if you want someone that you're going to be able to put into your lineups right away, it's definitely not Emeka Egbuka at this price and at this round. But there's a lot of outs that I'm like, okay, he could be good, but it would cost an injury and that would stink.
I just want to throw out though, and I would never purposefully call Kendall out, but Joe did point out that around now with the amount of flex spots that we're adding to leagues, round 9 is a starter. So if you're drafting Emeka Egbuka here, you're saying I'm starting him, and you just said, Kendall, I'm not starting him.
Yeah, you could. You can in week 1. You just can't.
1,000% see the upside though. You're absolutely. Yeah. There are so many dominoes that could easily be tipped over to make Emeka Egbuka good. But in round 9, I'm still drafting starters at this point, and that's not him for me.
You'd have to wait for sure.
Yeah. I think it's crazy, Ryan. You said he was your wide receiver 70.
Yeah, 70 was. Yeah. That's where I got I was like 70.
No, I have him at 86 in my projection.
What?
So that's why I was like, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Well, again,
you hate Tampa Bay, so that's where we're.
Well,
you just hate Tampa Bay in general.
But still, it's like this isn't going to be a 3-wide passing offense. They're going to utilize the running backs very heavily in this passing attack. So at that point, you're trying to distribute targets to the number 3 wide receiver. And for me, that's only 42 targets right now.
And he's not as popular, but Jalen McMillan's established.
I was going to say, and right now I only have McMillan at 26 targets. That's what I'm saying. So it's just the way that everything shakes out. if they want to go heavy wide receiver, Cade Otton's only going to have 30 targets this year.
Yeah.
That's generous.
Yeah.
Which again, they could very well shift to that. But to me, it just feels like they're setting up Egbuka and McMillan to just be the next big two for them when Godwin and Evans are finally done. That's really what this feels like.
I agree completely.
Mm-hmm.
All I know is that the smartest parts of the show are in the northeast and southwest corridors of the screen right now. Because what I said was backed up by the guest, which always means that I'm right.
Just you wait. She's going to be on my side in a little bit, Joe.
Yeah, wait till we talk about the Bucks going forward.
Okay, and that's fine. Then the right half of the screen is going to be corrected.
Perfect.
The needle can move, guys,
I
right?
love that.
Magnetic fields change, all right?
Yeah, Joe's
But there's always constant true north, and that true north is right here, okay?
What Joe says is the truth.
Yes. What, Ryan, name me a time I've been wrong.
I'm just saying you get to narrate what the truth is for this entire
exactly.
episode.
The narrator holds all the power. All right, Kendall, to you. This guy blows. Jared
this guy
Goff.
stinks.
This guy sucks.
God, why are we even talking about him?
Oh, brother. SpongeBob meme.
It's a good
Goff. Jared Goff at QB 14. Makes sense. He, loses offensive coordinator, might take a step back. Still feels like an overpay.
It does to me. I was in the early underdog drafts, and I do attribute this though to people just trying to get their stacks. But he was going as the QB9 in like February, March. Like it was insane, and I actually thought I was getting punked. I was like, this can't be real. But listen, Jared Goff had a great season last year, and it's just all about talking about just potential regression, and that's the only thing. Like QB 15, 16, 17, 16. Is where I have him right now. So it's not totally egregious, but I mean, he had the career high 6.9% when you're looking at well above his 5% marks for passing touchdowns. And so it's just one of those things where I look at him and I say, okay, he's good. But again, when you lose a coordinator, you're hoping that they continue to play the same way that they did. They have a tougher schedule this season, which will keep them in games. So it's good for fantasy football purposes. But when I'm looking at a quarterback and I say only 2% of his fantasy points came from rushing production last season, I'd just rather go somewhere else. It's just, we always know what he brings in the rushing department, and it's basically nothing. And so if you look at it and you say, all right, well, there's also going to be touchdown regression and just maybe some overall offensive regression, I just kind of get a little bit nervous. But again, it's not egregious. 14, it's better than 8 in March or 9 or whatever. It was actually crazy. So like I'm more in the 16 range or just going that direction.
Yeah, we've been talking for a while about seeing a step back in this Detroit offense, but to further Kendall's point, we've been talking about don't be the middle quarterback drafter. If you're not paying up for the elites, it's kind of what I said about the tight ends, but with quarterback, it's even more so. Kendall says you had him at 14 or 16. I have Goff at 12, and I still wouldn't take him here because from 9 to 18, it's the same production, and I can just keep loading up on other guys and not waste a round 9 pick on a quarterback. So I love that.
Yeah.
You'll hear a lot more quarterbacks throughout this episode, and I can almost guarantee you'd want most, if not all of them, over Jared Goff, especially in the next round.
I was going to say, and they're all at least a round later.
Yeah, it's just value. Yeah.
Exactly.
And we'll end round 9. We'll change up how we're doing the rest of rounds because I realize this takes a little extra time with one extra person. Evan Ingram. He's not Jimmy Graham.
I'll say this really quick. Yeah, like you said, Joe. He's not Jimmy Graham, but also exactly what I just said about Mark Andrews. You want either volume or touchdowns. Evan Ingram has played 8 seasons in this league. 7 of those 8, he has had 4 or less, and those have been literally the last 7 seasons. So he's either, if he's not getting 100 targets, he's not paying off his ADP, plain and simple.
That's a good one. I wanted to like him so bad because I thought they would do more and to just adding in the receiver department. And I was like, oh, maybe it's going to be Evan Ingram. But then the more you look into him, you're like, it's probably not
his game.
Like,
Exactly.
it's like literally probably not. And like Denver, I think there was a stat that they had like targets to their tight ends over the last 2 seasons have been abysmal. And maybe that helps with getting Evan Ingram in there, but it's not good.
3 of his last 4 seasons, he's been under 10 yards per carry. His 40 time was in the 100th percentile.
We can beat him.
Makes
We're good.
0 sense. 0 sense.
Elite
Yuck.
blocking tight end.
He was Kyle Pitts before Kyle Pitts.
Stop.
Like, that's really what it boils down to.
Don't trigger the people.
We want him to be good, and it's just not it.
Kyle Pitts wishes he had the athleticism of Evan Ingram.
Man.
Respectfully. Not to say he's not athletic, but he wishes he had that athletic ability. Okay. How we're going to go 10, 11, and 12 is I'm going to pick one player from the best and the worst. I'm going to try and make it different people. And then the other players that are on there, you have 30-second elevator pitches, just like Josh did, to tell me those things.
I'll do 30 seconds every time. You don't need to give me.
Yeah.
I'll talk fast.
I don't want to hear you talk, so that's perfect. Round 10. Starting off with Brandon Ayuk at wide receiver 51, Zach Charbonnet, RB 37, Justin Herbert, QB 15, David Njoku's the tight end 9. Those are the first 4 picks of round 10. Then you go to Drake May, Keon Coleman, Javonte Williams, Jordan Love, Jaden Higgins, the rookie in Houston, correct? Ramondre Stevenson, J.K. Dobbins, and I know this guy's a rookie, and I know he's in a bad situation. Tyler Warren, the tight end 10, and the final pick of the 10th round. He is the rookie tight end for the Indianapolis Colts. No surprise here. I'm going to list off the 3 best values, and shockingly, the Patriots fan's going to pick Drake May. But it is Drake May, J.K. Dobbins, and Brandon Ayuk, and we're going to start with Drake May, not because I love Kendall, but she just happened. Again, the northeast and southwest corridors of the show are cooking right now.
We're rocking it.
Bobby Flay and Gordon Ramsay. Talk to me about Drake May and tell me everything great that he's going to do this season. So
dude, I hope so. He's really one of my most.
I need yes.
He is going to be. But he's my most drafted quarterback. I think he's severely undervalued because of the exact opposite things that we just talked about with Jared Goff, where he has the rushing upside. I don't think this season we have any quarterback coming in that we're going to say that this is Jaden Daniels-esque. Jaden Daniels was going way too late in drafts last season, and we always said, hey, he's got this dual threat rushing ability. That's why he should be higher. Drake May is not Jaden Daniels. Let me just say that right now in case anyone clips this, but I will say, he averaged 4.9 rushes, 36.3 yards per game. If they fully unleash him, he's going to pay off this ADP very, very quickly. So I love Drake May this season.
Yeah.
Talk to me about his weapons. Sell me on his weapons. Go.
I can't do. No, don't do that. No, pass. No, it's going to be better, right? It has to be. It couldn't be worse.
It could be.
It could be. That's the thing. That's why I said pass.
The wide receiver 1 could be snorting lines off Cardi B's ass in Miami. So yes, it could be worse.
Get it together. What are we doing? Get off the boats. No.
Yeah. No more boats for wide receivers.
It's okay. No more boats for wide receivers.
It's fine, guys. We have Jalen Polk. It's fine. He's going to get cut. It's fine.
God. He's so bad.
Josh. J.K. Dobbins. Old man.
Elevator pitch. Starting running backs in the 10th round. What the fuck are we doing? Plain and simple. I mean, honest to God. He is the starter. He will be the starter in Denver.
That's what you think.
What are we doing, people?
I hate J.K. Dobbins. I don't know.
Same, Kendall.
Dude,
Same.
Joe, we're on the same way. I can't do it.
Out of here. Until round 12, Kendall's my best friend.
You know what?
Round 12.
He was effective last year. He was. I understand he got hurt, and you know what? By the time he gets hurt, it'll be the RJ Harvey show. But until that point, the first half of the season, it's all J.K. Dobbins, and that will still pay off at round 10 ADP.
Nah. Talk about listen. I'm going to continue.
And the Broncos are going to throw more to their running back than the Chargers ever did. So
I'm going to continue the meh fest with Brandon Ayuk, who is the biggest form of meh known to mankind. Ryan.
Yeah, I've heard obviously contract year and all that's the fun stuff of why he was good, but looking at this round, he's the only wide receiver who has not one but 2 top 15 seasons under his belt. I understand last year really sucked, but the 49ers did pay him. I don't see it being Juwan Jennings or Ricky Pearsall. I think Brandon Ayuk is the leading receiver on this team. And again, when Brandon Ayuk is the leading receiver, we've seen top 15 potential. I love Keon Coleman. We can't be putting him in the same draft class as Brandon Ayuk.
I'm not here to defend that Ayuk is the best receiver of Keon Coleman and Jaden Higgins. Yeah. Combined 15 games played in the NFL. I'm not an idiot. Okay, I'm not stupid. That's ignorant. But he's just meh. outside of his contract year, he was good.
Well,
That's it.
It was back-to-back seasons, though, is the thing. It was 1,000 yards and 7 and 8 touchdowns in back-to-back years. Wide receiver 15 one year, wide receiver 14 the next.
I still think the biggest thing with Ayuk is when is he going to be healthy and when is he going to play?
And
that's the whole thing. And that's the big unknown right now.
Yeah.
We're getting T. Higgins vibes
He
from
got paid.
Mm-hmm.
He got paid. So he's done. He's fine. He's going to milk it.
Yeah, every wide receiver's done right after they get their contract. That's how the
done.
NFL's been for years.
Mike Williams. Just right off the dome.
One guy, the only wide receiver in the NFL in the history of the NFL.
All I know is that Brandon Ayuk doesn't exactly have the attitude, or strikes me with the attitude of, I'm gonna give it the old college try.
Hey, I'm hoping he's ready to bounce back. It's his team now. Debo's gone.
He can live on my IR spot.
I like it.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
He's gonna bounce his ass back.
I'm just saying,
onto the bench.
when you're if I'm in the 10th round and I'm looking for a wide receiver and I look at these options, it's pretty clear which one I'm taking.
I mean, yes, I guess fine. Worst values. We lay into Tyler Warren too much.
We do spend a lot of time.
So we're gonna lay into him even more. What are we going to talk about with Javonte Williams and Jaden Higgins, respectfully? Like,
they all suck.
Look, with Tyler Warren, it boils down to you want high volume or you want touchdowns, and you want him to be the first or second target on his offense. The Colts
how many check boxes does he mark there? How many?
Like none.
Literally zero.
Yeah. The Colts were 27th last year in pass attempts. And he has two better options ahead of him in Michael Pittman Jr. and Josh Downs. Like, one of those two needs a catastrophic injury or to be traded, which, if the Colts are as bad as we think they could be, could very well happen. That's the only way that Tyler Warren pays off at ADP, plain and simple, because this passing offense probably doesn't score more than 15 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Do you honestly think he's going to score 6 of them? I don't. Unless JT gets hurt and misses significant time and they have to throw the football.
Yeah.
Again, it's going to take a catastrophic injury to completely displace what the Colts, in theory, want to do this year for Tyler Warren to be good. And also, too, why is the guy that got drafted second among tight ends going ahead of Colston Loveland? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, because Anthony Richardson's a better quarterback than Caleb Williams. That's just, it's just a science. I don't know what. Look at the numbers. Like what? Actually, don't look at the numbers. That's gonna disprove the joke. Don't look at the numbers. I will bring this up as I always do as we talk about Tyler Warren. If you combined all tight ends last year on the Indianapolis Colts, they would have combined for tight end 30.
Woof.
Yep.
Woof in a bad way, Kendall.
Woof in a bad
Woof
way.
in a bad way.
It's horrible.
Kendall, I'll let you go. Elevator. What do we call a negative pitch? What do we call that? Because elevator pitch is like I'm pitching myself.
Like a good thing.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Escalator.
The floor pit. The floor pitch. There you go.
Skydive free fall. Go.
I mean,
I like it.
I feel like with him, like, no, and this is no offense, but like, I feel like I just have to say his name right, and that's it. Like Javonte Williams. No, I can't.
We can move on.
That's it. Like that might be my thing.
Great.
Where it's just like I don't. The Cowboys always just piss everyone off. Where we thought they were going to go get a rookie in the draft, and they technically did, but it was way later than we thought.
Yeah.
Javonte Williams. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I feel like we've seen who Javonte Williams is at this point. Unfortunately, if it didn't happen last year in a really bad Broncos running back, like not a good Broncos running back room with Audric Estime, Jaleel McLaughlin, I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen, but. Javonte Williams. That's my pitch. Bad.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly what a skydive free fall should be.
Yeah.
I think Jerry just saw that his last name was Blue, and was like, "Oh, that's our team color."
Got to,
right? I mean, the Alzheimer's has to have kicked in at some point with that guy. Jaden Higgins, Ryan. I thought this kid was actually had like some hype to him.
Oh, I like Jaden Higgins. He's a tall wide receiver, 6'5". You guys know what that does for me. It's a guy I should like. However,
okay, calm down.
What's the path to targets? the entire fantasy world has decided they hate CJ Stroud and this passing offense. And now Higgins is the third target at best. And that's if they don't throw to their running back at all, because he's not going to out target Nico Collins and likely not Christian Kirk because it's a completely different role. He's the third target on a likely low passing volume offense that we all kind of hate. Why are we drafting Jaden Higgins this high? It's not dynasty.
Rookie fever.
Yeah.
I just think, honestly, people are disregarding Christian Kirk. That's really what it feels like to me. They either just forgot that he's on the Houston Texans, or they just think he's absolutely washed because he hasn't played a full season.
As someone who currently has a 63% exposure rate to Christian Kirk in best ball, I would say that I'm the only person who hasn't forgotten.
Oh my God.
I
damn, Ryan.
I like Christian Kirk, but that's a lot.
He feels free by the time I get him, and I try to.
I mean, honestly,
for ADP, I'm not even taking.
And I've said
early,
this before: the Houston offense this year is going to look a lot like what Atlanta did last year. Like, it's from that same McVay tree. There's room for a second wide receiver to be that top dog, but it's usually going to be the slot guy.
Exactly.
That's Christian Kirk. That's not Jaden Higgins.
I'm having a tough time wrapping my head around a term called exposure rate, which sounds incredibly.
Tell me you don't play best ball without telling me you don't play best ball.
Exposure rate. 63% exposure rate. Just take that out of context of whatever is being talked about. It doesn't sound good.
That's fair too.
Yeah. Anyways, round 11. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm getting a little sad just looking at the names.
I said that before too. That like
I'm
after you get past like round 5, it's depressing. And
can we go to round 15? Can we go to round 15?
Oh man, next week's show is going to be like the most depressing. You think talking tight ends is depressing? Wait till you get to 13 through 16.
I have to be here for next week's show.
It's just me and you, Joe. Josh isn't even here for it.
Oh well, all right. So that's better then. That's fine.
Aw.
I'm gonna miss in 2 weeks, I think, because I'm flying to Pittsburgh. But I don't know my travel dates yet.
Been dealing with this for 405 episodes, Kendall.
That's crazy. Godspeed.
And it was my idea too. This podcast. It's my idea.
Oh man.
Oh jeez. Round 11. JJ McCarthy, quarterback 18. He's the first pick of the 11th round. CJ Stroud is his backup, right next to him at 19. Technically, he's backup in the round.
Right.
Technically, right?
Yeah.
It's not. I wasn't right, but I wasn't wrong. Jonnu Smith at tight end 11. Hello. Tucker Kraft at tight end 12. Tajay Spears, RB 41. Trevor Lawrence right in the middle. Rashid Shaheed joining him there with Trey Harris, the rookie out of Ole Miss. I always forget if it's Ole Miss or Mississippi State. Someone correct me on that. Ole Miss, I believe so. He wears the blue and red, so I think that's Ole Miss. College guy. Colston Loveland at tight end 13. Luther Burden the third. Rashad Bateman in Bayshall Tootin, baby. The true RB1 of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I see that Kendall put Tootin. It's kind of
immediately pivoted.
I said I can't do this. Actually, I can't talk this long about Bayshall Tootin. And I do like him, to be fair, but I started like writing it and I was like, no, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Not today.
Every ounce of me wants to hear you talk about Bayshall Tootin.
No, I mean I have some like I
no.
Let's do
That's
JJ
fine.
McCarthy.
That's fine. We're gonna go to. I'm going to reluctantly say we're going to go to Trevor Lawrence. I know what Josh is going to say about Tucker Kraft, so we don't need to dive too far deep into that. He is pretty much exactly what the elevator pitch is going to be. I hate Trevor Lawrence. I think he's a bum.
Oh.
So, Ryan, I need you to tell me why the years I've had him in fantasy, he's been dog shit, why I can take him now at quarterback 20 and rejoice in song.
Well, I think you've already kind of said it. It's the quarterback 20 thing.
I still don't like him.
But like this is where I was talking about 2 rounds ago is I want to wait a couple of rounds, load up on running backs and wide receivers. And Lawrence is a guy who I do think has more upside than Joe's giving him credit for. Mainly, I'm looking at the weapons. You have Travis Etienne, a very good pass-catching running back. Now you have Bayshall Tootin, another explosive running back. Brian Thomas Jr., one of the best rookie wide receivers we've seen in years. Travis Hunter, who's supposed to be one of the best rookie wide receivers we've seen in years, amongst the other things. Brenton Strange provided some things. De'Ami Brown's looked really good in camp. There's a lot of weapons.
Hasn't
all over
De'Ami
this
Brown
offense.
looked good in camp everywhere he's gone?
Every season he's been in the NFL. But let's stick with the main guys. ETN, to a lesser extent, Tootin, Thomas, Hunter. I'm not even going to throw Brenton Strange in there. That's 4 guys that can all find the end zone easily when they touch the ball. And I'm getting Trevor Lawrence at a completely free price when it comes to quarterbacks. When you're looking for guys who did what Baker Mayfield did last year with this offense and what Jared Goff did last year, Trevor Lawrence is the most clear example, in my opinion, just with everything that's around there, a absolutely terrible defense. They are going to have to throw the ball a ton. And Lawrence is a guy, the other part I've brought up on previous shows, Trevor Lawrence has sneaky rushing upside. Last year, we didn't see it from a yardage standpoint, but his career rushing, rookie year, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. Second year, 300 yards, 5 touchdowns. Third year, 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. Last year, the rushing falls all the way down to 120 yards, and he still found the end zone 3 times. So he gives you something you're not expecting. We saw the touchdowns just plummet last year to 11 touchdowns. I think he doubles that back up, gets back to his career average this year, and he's going to be a much better quarterback.
I like it.
Better
I'm with
offense, too.
I'm with Ryan on that. I like Trevor Lawrence. I like his price right now, and I know people are going to be like, he's done nothing in the past, which is, I mean, fair, but like, I don't know, like his healthy seasons, 2022, 2023 with a QB8, QB12, exactly. Finish. Like, I just, you add, like, and everything feels like it went right this offseason, so there's more there, and then that makes it more to lose, right? If you can't do well with Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter and, a new offensive-minded head coach, like it could be bad. But I'm with you on Trevor. I like him this year.
Guys, have we seen his offensive line? Like just with
it's fine.
His offensive line is
it's
bad.
fine. No,
Patrick McCarry. You better off putting a blind ghost there.
It's fine.
Like that's Robert Hansey.
I mean,
the fuck is that guy? Ezra Cleveland. Those are the 3 interior offensive linemen.
Is there a health issue? Possibly.
Yeah.
A health depth issue. It's fine. Yeah. We look past
John Wolford's going to play by week 5 because Nick Mullins is hurt.
Yeah.
Like, and this Seth Hennigan kid is going to get called up off the practice squad. I'm just reading off the depth chart here. I'm really rooting for LaQuint Allen Jr. Baller name. 7th round pick.
Dope running back. He's actually going to play a little bit of slot wide receiver this year. Played a lot of both positions at Syracuse.
Yeah, he was a heavily targeted running back.
Yep.
He's actually a really good pass blocker.
I think he led all running backs in receiving last season. If I'm
guys, I don't watch an ounce of college football. I just know things. All right.
There you go.
I just know things.
I was so disappointed he went to Jacksonville behind ETN and then after they had already drafted Tootin. I was very upset about that for Allen.
Guys, Chuma Edoga can't even beat out Ezra Cleveland. His offensive line is horrible. It is so bad. All right. I don't like Lawrence. Let's go to Josh on Tucker Kraft. I know the elevator pitch. This guy is a steal at tight end 12.
Yeah, I've talked about him before. He finished second on the team last year in receptions, yards, 14.6% target share in this offense. It's the highest that LaFleur has ever provided to a tight end in his offense. He was 5th in yards after the catch among all tight ends, and he was 1st in yak per reception. I mean, everything is lining up for this guy. 14.1 yards per reception was second only to George Kittle among tight ends. He is explosive. And now you're adding a speed merchant on the outside and Matthew Golden who can take attention away. That's only going to open up more seam routes in the middle of the field. Tucker Kraft is primed for a massive breakout, and you're getting him in as a steal in the 11th round.
Staying in that division, a second-year quarterback who has never seen a single regular season snap. He didn't even see a preseason snap, right? He got hurt in camp.
Yeah.
Right? Yes. So he hasn't even seen a single second of NFL action. But everyone, and I will give Kevin O'Connell his due right, believe that Kevin O'Connell's the quarterback whisperer, because at this point, how can you not believe that?
Mm-hmm.
J.J. McCarthy has 2 of the best weapons in the NFL, solid tight end, couple good running backs. Why do you like him, Kendall?
Yeah, you just said it all. That's it. We're done.
Great. All right.
That's the pitch.
That really is the pitch. I mean, but here, like, I don't know. I just like the price. And if you're looking for someone, like if you're waiting for that second quarterback and you've already got, someone under your belt, like Kevin O'Connell, what he was able to do with Kirk, what he was able to do with Sam Darnold. And then, like you said, he's got a good supporting cast. And there's a reason that they let Sam Darnold walk is because they believe that he can be that guy. So I like JJ McCarthy. No sample size, small sample size, but why not?
Worst values. God, I love that both tight ends are here. All 3 tight ends were talked about in this round, and 2 of them are on the shit list. I love that. So this is interesting because we have 2 rookies on this, Trey Harris and Colson Loveland by Josh and Ryan respectively. Yep. So I will, I do want to go to Jonnu Smith though. And I know I keep picking Kendall's people, but that's because
to be fair, yeah, they both did the sheet before me. I liked almost all of their players before I got to pick mine. So.
That's what they all say. That's what they all say. Kendall, Jonnu Smith is the newest Pittsburgh Steeler along with Jalen Ramsey. He gets traded over there. Him and Ramsey get traded for Minkah Fitzpatrick, and I believe a mid-round pick that could have been in there.
4 or 5.
Yeah, like a mid-round pick. The Steelers got worse, in my opinion, in that trade. And one of those pieces is Jonnu Smith. I am assuming you're not buying into the he's back with Arthur Smith hype.
No.
So dump on it.
No, I thought it was awful. And it kind of sucks because in fantasy football, like he comes off the like a best season where you're just peppered with targets and you're just like, honestly, it was the focal point of this offense for the Dolphins. And you come into 2025 thinking, okay, maybe they're going to do that again. And that made me rank Tyreek Hill a little bit lower. Same with Jalen Waddle. And then you send them to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'm like, never mind. I don't care about Jonnu Smith anymore. I don't necessarily want to trust an aging Aaron Rodgers this season. I don't want to trust Arthur Smith. So he like tumbled all the way. I think he was my tight end 8 or 7 going into the season in my ranks, and I think he's now updated like tight end 15 or 16. Like he's not there. He's not doing it for me. I don't want any piece of it. I'm good.
I just released our Dolphins article where I wrote the player blurbs and then the trade happened, but I didn't even have to go fix it because I wrote, there are trade rumors. If he is a Dolphin, he is a top 7 option. Mm-hmm. If he is traded, he is barely on my streaming radar is exactly what I wrote in there. So.
Same people. We got it.
Exactly.
Yeah, he fell to my tight end 17.
So bad. It's so bad. I can't get behind it.
I can't wait for the first 1 week. Jonnu Smith has 15 points, and everyone's like, "Uh-oh, that's the guy." What do you mean?
And then they blow all their fab, and he puts up 4 points next week. Yeah, that's out of it.
I was gonna say 1. 4 felt generous, but sure. I mean, if you want to, that's fine. We'll stick on the tight end theme. Josh, Colston Loveland.
Everybody thinks he's going to be the next Sam Laporta. Because Sam Laporta in his rookie year was the tight end 1 with Ben Johnson. Can you name the wide receiver 2 with the Detroit Lions the year that Sam Laporta exploded?
Khalif Raymond. No, I'm kidding. It was actually Josh Reynolds.
It was Josh Reynolds, 64 targets.
Yep.
Guess who the wide receiver 2 on the Bears is? Rome Odunze. 101 targets last year. He has an established wide receiver 2 in front of him. There is no way in God's green earth Colston Loveland is going to have that kind of a breakout unless they trade Rome Odunze or DJ Moore, one of those 2 guys.
He also has an unestablished quarterback, which doesn't help.
Yeah, and look what happened to Laporta last year with a wide receiver too. So
exactly, like that, and that's the whole concept here is that he needs to spike in touchdowns the same way that Laporta did.
And Caleb had a hard time finding that area last year. Yeah. So we'll see if he can this year. Ryan, sticking on the rookie theme, Trey Harris.
Trey Harris is actually a guy I like. And I do like
too.
The draft capital and where he ended up. However, Trey Harris is the cautionary tale of rookies in fantasy football. Don't be the one to draft them and drop them. Be the one to pick them up in week 5 after they get dropped from the draft. Because what's going to happen is Trey Harris is going to take time. He is not Ladd McConkey's role. So he's going to there's room for him in this offense. But he's going to have to outplay the guys who are NFL veterans and have been there. Quentin Johnson had 91 targets in this offense last year. That's likely whose role. Yeah, that's likely whose role Harris is coming for. But they also brought back in Mike Williams. And I know we all have our thoughts on Mike Williams, but the fact of the matter is he's going to get a shot ahead of Trey Harris. It's going to take time for this kid. So right now, don't waste the draft pick on him. Or if you do, please be patient. You got to give him 8-9 weeks riding your pine before you find out whether or not he's going to be able to perform for your team. But more than likely, you're not going to be the one that drafts him. And in week 4, when Jonnu Smith goes for 15 points, Trey Harris is going to get dropped so they can add Jonnu Smith. And now you have the better rookie wide receiver. So.
All right, good. So we don't hate Trey Harris. We just don't want to draft him. That's
yeah.
I'm good with that.
You got to have patience. You got to have patience.
I could deal with that. Okay. We move on to the final round, not of your rookie drafts, but the final round of this show, round 12. Most drafts you're ending in round 16, unless you're, again, degenerates like there's 4 of us on this show.
Yeah. With exposure rates.
I hear my cat scratching at the door.
I don't. You're good.
Like, I know you don't. I'm just stating that for the people. It's annoying. Round 12. Rachaad White is the first pick of the 12th round at RB 43. Christian Kirk, wide receiver 58. Dalton Kincaid, way too high, tight end 14. Marvin Mims, Michael Penix Jr., the first quarterback in this round at the 5th pick, doing quick math, QB 21. Jaden Blue, the rookie running back for the Cowboys. Tua Tagovailoa, Dallas Goedert, Trey Benson, Hollywood Brown at 10. Jake Ferguson and Ray Davis rounds out the 12th round in a 12-team half-point PPR best ball draft. Now, I do see Steven's question that we will get to here towards the end of the show. We will start with the best values here. Now, I'm so inclined to ask Ryan about his 63%. What is it? Exposure rate?
Exposure rate.
Yeah. But I actually am going to go to Ray Davis because I like Ray Davis as well. And I keep picking Kendall's people, but they're just the favorite.
Well, I was going to say, and if you want to hear a Marvin Mims, Josh will give you the elevator pitch, but also just tune into our Denver episode.
I was going to say, I heard it. Yeah.
Where all we did was talk about Marvin Mims for like 15 minutes. So.
I like
that. Get that here. But James Cook coming off a career year, one of his best years, still holding out, I believe, for a contract.
I think he's back.
He's back. Okay.
Yeah, he came back because he said, "quote I like my money" or something like that.
Yeah, he hasn't gotten paid yet, though.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would say I hadn't seen a contract come through, but there were some disputes there. Obviously, a career year for him. Ray Davis coming into his second year, there were a lot of moments where he showed a lot of pop on the field last year. Do you think that continues into this year and James Cook maybe takes a slight step back, maybe more of a 50-50 backfield? What are you seeing out of Ray Davis?
Yeah, I don't think a 50-50 backfield. We're watching to make sure that he's going to get paid. And I just think it's interesting with James Cook. Like when we look at the touchdowns that he scored last season, I'm just expecting regression because there's no way he can put up those same kind of numbers again. There's also a part of me where maybe the Bills just say, we actually want to run James Cook into the ground, and they do give him a contract and they do continue to give him that workload, which would be surprising to me, but it could happen. And so for me, I'm just, again, watching the contract stuff. I do think he's going to be a Buffalo Bill in 2025, but as a pure handcuff, I really do like Ray Davis because we saw the 23 touch, like 150-yard performance in that one game. The Jets, I believe it was. So like we've seen it. And so it's out there. If James Cook ever were to get hurt or go down, or maybe, this contract stuff gets a little bit more messy, like then Ray Davis comes into a pretty solid job. And again, I do expect regression from James Cook. So we never want that, but I like Ray Davis. Good handcuff option. You're not starting him.
Yeah.
You're not.
You don't have to though, but
yeah.
Like I said, and James Cook is the perfect back when you have these camp turbulent stories, the
exactly.
perfect back to draft a handcuff for.
Exactly.
So.
A guy you are starting, Josh, Marvin Mims. I got an earful yesterday, but give the people the elevator pitch.
The quick pitch. 5th highest passer rating when targeted among all NFL wide receivers.
Oh, you're going to give me this dumb stat that I hate?
No, that's he was 4th among wide receivers in yards per reception last year.
Yeah.
That alone should tell you he's efficient. He gets down the field. He can make things happen. This is a guy that was on pace. If you take the last 6 games, he would have had an 88 target season. That's about what a wide receiver 2 in a Sean Payton offense will look like, from 1 touchdown to 6 in his second season. Bo Nix found him. if Bo Nix continues his progression, Marvin Mims is going with him. And I much prefer Marvin Mims at his price versus Evan Ingram at his price.
Agreed. Ryan, the exposure rate continues.
Yeah, I don't have to throw a lot in here. For all the reasons I don't like Jaden Higgins, I do like Christian Kirk. He is very clearly going to be the slot wide receiver in this offense. If you guys think back to last year, even this offense that we didn't like, the slot wide receiver provided some interesting games. Tank Dell before he got hurt, Stephon Diggs before he got hurt, John Mechie while those guys were hurt. We learned to love again for John Mechie coming back. And this should be a healthy Christian Kirk's role the entire season with very little competition. I think this is a 100 target role. I don't know how often he's going to find the end zone. He's far more valuable in PPR than he is elsewhere, but he's a 60% catch guy. He's 12 and a half yards per catch. The end zone is going to be whether or not he absolutely pops for you, but for a safe second or third flex option this late in the draft, Christian Kirk all day long, very safe in PPR.
He's 2024 Darnell Mooney. That's exactly
I am contractually obligated anytime the name John Mechie does come up to bring up, if you want to watch a wide receiver absolutely in the nicest way possible dick down a defense, go watch the 2021 game between Alabama and Auburn. John Mechie caught 5 straight passes in overtime.
That was when Joe when Joe sang the gospel of John Mechie. So.
I don't watch a lot of college. I only need to watch a little bit. Yeah. And I watched a defense triple cover a guy. And he said, "Fuck you." That's exactly what he said. In Auburn for the Iron Bowl. He didn't care. He didn't give a flying F. And that's why I love John Mechie ever since that one moment. I watched John Mechie play
beat
football.
Cancer. So John Mechie.
And that as well. That's great. I watched John Mechie play football for 45 seconds, and I knew he was good. I watched Drake London play a half of a game against the University of Arizona, the jokiest of joke football schools right now, and I knew he was. I had a feeling. So, again, I don't watch a lot of it. I just trust my eyes, and I love John Mechie. I hope he gets a shot.
I hope
he's not good in Houston. He needs to go to another team. They're too
next contract.
Yeah, too loaded with where he has right now. Okay, a guy who I don't give a shit about until yesterday. Like I was gonna say
we have to pick Kendall's player yet again because it's the only thing that matters on this show. So.
What are we talking about, Jaden Blue? Like what? Like, listen. So let me set the scene. So the Buccaneers episode is going to come out on Monday, on what is that? July 14th.
Yeah.
So the Bucs episode is going to come out. I didn't realize how much I liked Rachaad White until Josh started spewing shit out of his mouth.
Aww.
I cannot stress this enough. I hate inefficient running backs, and he is right up there. He is so inefficient as a runner. It pisses me off to watch an NFL running back not be able to rush for 4 yards of carry. That is the bare minimum that you should be able to do as an NFL running back. And this bitch averages 2.9. It's not good. It's not good. He's one of the least efficient running backs in the NFL. All that to say, this bitch finished RB5 in 2023. So the hypothetical, Kendall, yesterday, before you start shitting on Rachaad White, and it shifts now to the right side of the screen, being the smartest side of the screen. The question was, because it didn't get through Josh's little tiny brain. The question was, if the starting running back went down, if Bucky Irving was out and it was Rachaad White was the starting running back, who would you rather have? And we basically went up and down the list of the rough ADPs as who would you rather have? And there was nobody within pissing distance that made sense because Rachaad White would be a top 12, if not top 15 running back if Bucky Irving didn't exist on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Take over, Kendall.
I just don't like Rachaad White. I just don't. I just don't. It's just my thing is, again, going back to regression, Baker Mayfield has to be the pinnacle quarterback of regression for 2025. 41 touchdowns, there's no way. The rushing yards are coming back down. And so to me, when I'm okay, the big stat that we had been talking about was just the pass yards per attempt. Everything is coming down, unfortunately, for Baker Mayfield. And so when I look at that and I say, okay, touchdown passes per attempts coming down from 7.2%, the passing yards per attempts coming down, the rushing yards per games coming down, I just see this, and it doesn't mean Baker Mayfield's not going to be a good quarterback. I really do believe he is. But when I look at Rachaad White and the numbers that he put up last season, which was 393 receiving yards, like our projections are nowhere close to that for Rachaad White. Like he's projected for 100 fantasy points in the year 2025 total. And so for me, I'd rather, if it's not Bucky Irving, I'm just not probably going to take anyone else in this offense, this backfield, I should say.
If
I don't like it.
Bucky Irving goes down, Rachaad White is not assuming 100% of the running back.
No, I'll take Sean Tucker.
He's still going to split carries.
And
none of these other backs that we were talking about yesterday for Monday's episode are going to yield to a third running back. Okay?
But he's not going to split
John Tucker split carries with Bucky Irving when Rachaad White went out. Like, that's how they will utilize this backfield.
Yeah.
Look, you guys want to talk about Rachaad White as a pass catcher? Okay, cool. Guess who had 70 targets last year and finished as the RB 30? Another terrible running back, Javonte Williams. So, that's what you're getting out of Bucky or out of Rachaad White. He's fucking terrible. Just fade him. There's no world where he's going to end up in that realm again, like in 2023. No,
you said that he had 70 targets and finished as the RB 30, Javonte Williams.
Yeah.
Rachaad White is going off as the RB 43. That's still a vast improvement on his ADP.
Improvement. That's where you draw the line. Like, no,
that's the worst case scenario.
You want winning weeks from guys that can fill in. He's not going to give you that. Plain and simple.
Rachaad White had 70 targets in 2023 and finished as the RB 5.
Because there was no RB2 on that team.
That's
the difference between 2023 and 2025 , Joe.
They had Chase Edmonds.
Stop.
Again, no RB2 on that fucking team.
Stop. I will say Rachaad White's fine if you want a backup guy that you're never going to put in, and if you do, you're going to hate your life. But again, I'd rather go with Ray
Kendall.
Davis. I'd rather go with Ray Davis.
I'm not sitting here pounding the drum of Rachaad White as the backup to Bucky Irving. I'm pounding the drum of Rachaad White when Bucky Irving gets hurt.
He's not getting hurt.
Every single running back in the past 2 rounds that we've talked about, I would take over Rachaad White. And probably everyone in 13 and 14, I would take over Rachaad White.
Because you hate him.
He does hate him.
Because he sucks!
I've already established he's not good. I've already said that. That is laid out on the line. Jordan Brooks is a bad linebacker. He's a top 5 linebacker in IDP every single year. He's bad, but he's good in fantasy.
You're hanging on to his Justin Forsett season. That's what you're doing.
He's done it twice.
A 1 year wonder.
He was RB 22 last year in a clear timeshare.
And then lost his job because he went into the season as the starter.
Fantastic. He was the RB 22 in the season he lost his job.
Okay.
I do have to say that I'm not a stats
Baker had a career
guy.
Season. What do you want? Like, it's
I'm
not
not
going to happen
guy,
this year.
but
That's
the
point.
stats seem to be swinging in mine and Ryan's favor. That's all I'm saying. I'm
Yeah,
not a stats
it's
guy.
fine to look at Rachaad White and be like, he sucks. I don't want him on my team. But you can't look at his numbers and say that, like his fantasy finishes.
Well, like give me his Pro Football Focus, metrics. Maybe those will make you feel
that's
better.
what'll come.
Is yards per reception after catch per touch, whatever fucking bullshit you gave me yesterday. I was like, aren't you just saying yards after catch? Like, no, yards after catch per reception. Okay, so yards after catch. Like, just say it. That's fine. Like, he had good yards after catch. That's all I need to know. I don't need to know per reception. Okay, I didn't need to know that bullshit. You can just tell me that Christian McCaffrey's good based on his yards after catch. That's all I need to know.
Your eyes tell you Christian McCaffrey's good. Just shut up.
Yeah, 100%. My eyes tell me Rachaad White sucks. He's still going to finish as a top 15 running back.
So therein lies the point. Why are you trying to make a positive case for a running back that sucks? It's pointless.
Why are you trying to make a case for Travis Etienne? He averaged 3.4 yards per carry. Like, Travis Etienne.
When did I try to make a case for Travis
No, that's
Etienne?
me too. That's me too. Let's put it this way. If a running back gets targets, Ryan fucking loves them. Plain and simple. Does it always work out for me? Absolutely not.
No.
But
all right. Well, let's stick with the running backs. Can you name me a single thing about Jaden Blue? Where'd he go to school?
Texas.
You didn't know. That was a question for Ryan, Josh. I had no faith that Ryan knew that answer.
Wow, what a
God.
hater.
I didn't know where he went to school. I barely knew this guy was a Cowboy until we did the Cowboy episode because he's so irrelevant. Continue.
My issue is the Cowboys don't have much of a running game, and
They don't have much game.
yeah, well, there's that. They don't have much of a running game. There's weird competition for carries. Obviously, we don't like any of these running backs. He's a 5th round running back, as Kendall pointed out. They drafted him later than what we would expected them. But then when you look at his college numbers, and I understand at Texas he was playing behind some heavy hitters, he never did anything particularly impressive in college other than 6 receiving touchdowns last year. So I should love him. Maybe he's going to come in and be a 70 target guy. But, nothing he did was particularly impressive. I don't know why he came out as a junior. I think he would have been better off staying for another year, especially with this RB class. But just overall, the Dallas running game combined with a weirdly crowded backfield combined with 5th round draft capital, I don't see the point in using this pick on Jaden Blue when I can take Rashad White.
Exactly. That's my thoughts. Josh, you have Donkey Kong on here. Dalton Kincaid.
He's getting the same treatment from Josh Allen that we give every pass catcher for Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
You're attached to a good quarterback, so you must be good. Dalton Kincaid had a 15.7% target share his rookie year, 14.4% target share last year. His tight end rankings in points per game, tight end 14 and tight end 19. What are we doing? Like, he's seeing targets and can't fucking do anything with him. He scored 4 touchdowns in 2 seasons. And Josh Allen is like QB1 every year.
And to make Josh's point even further, they didn't have any wide receivers. Like, it was an ideal situation for him to pop.
Yeah.
And his targets went down when he ceded targets to Khalil Shakir.
Yeah. That's a dog right there.
I love Khalil Shakir, but it's not like we're talking about like prime Stephon Diggs here. Like,
I'd like to see Khalil Shakir go up against prime Stephon Diggs, and you tell me who's better. All right. All right. Don't you dare put any disrespect on Khalil Shakir. Me defending this fucker.
I would never. The sneaky girls would never let me live it down.
That's true.
Khalil Shakir.
Mac Hollins was the other receiver. I could not pin to my head who the other receiver was. It was Mac Hollins. And then Amari Cooper when he came over for 2 games.
Did nothing.
Yep.
Absolutely nothing. Real quick before we get to Steven's question, I'm realizing we mentioned one Seattle Seahawk, our resident Seattle Seahawk fan down there. And that's because, Kendall, respectfully, your offense is kind of booty right now.
Kind of. Why do you think I don't even talk about him? I'm wearing an ASU hat today.
Yeah. That's why I've never seen you in a Devil's hat. That's why
I can't do it.
Well, okay, so talk about Zach Charbonnet though, like real quick. That was the whole setup here. Was like we haven't talked about Seattle. I want to give you a chance to talk about Charbonnet. Do you like him? Do you not?
Yeah.
He's going in the 10th round, but in general, do you like Zach Charbonnet?
No, I do like Zach Charbonnet. You can pencil in Kenneth Walker to miss 3 games minimum every single season, and now you have a Clint. No, you can though. He's a little soft, and so like he just doesn't play when he feels hurt, and so like you have a Clint Kubiak offense now. It feels like it's going to be a bit more run heavy because Sam Darnold's going to be running for his life. And like, that's a whole other, he makes me so nervous. I want to get excited for this team, but Sam Darnold under pressure is just not going to be good. For all the crap that Geno Smith got too, by the way, like Geno Smith did a lot to like mitigate how bad that offensive line was. Yeah, and really so did. I like that they got Gray Zabel in the draft this year, first round pick. But I do like Zach Charbonnet though. All that to say, I do like Zach. He, again, when we talk about just premier handcuffs, he feels like a guy that should be targeted just because this team is going to be more run heavy this season. And again, if Kenneth Walker goes down, he's going to assume this huge role in that offense.
Yeah, this offense feels like Charbonnet could even have some standalone value.
He really could. It's just I'm nervous about Sam Darnold. Just a little.
As you should be.
Oh God. And Cooper Kupp. What are we doing? It's kind of sad. It's okay.
I've been very down on that offense. I might be the lowest ranker on JSN.
Yeah, it's not good, unfortunately.
Oh, I'm with you guys. In Dynasty, so I'm gonna need him to step it up just a tiny bit. All right, my Dynasty roster I wouldn't say is the best on planet Earth, so I'd like JSN, to maybe do something. Guys, shut the fuck up. I can talk bad about my team. You guys can't talk bad about my team. Damn. Steven asks, there high chance DJ Moore gets traded during the season and Luther Burden takes over his role. I will let anybody chime in here on this. I think there is a chance he gets traded. I don't know about Luther Burden going right into his role, though.
That was literally who I comped Luther Burden to. Like, his game is very similar.
Oh, that's what everyone comps Luther Burden to. But I feel like,
and that's my point. Like, he basically drafted these guys to take the place of the people on the roster in case they don't mesh with what Ben Johnson wants to do. And I mean, they've already showed clips and reports of DJ Moore and, you know, Ben Johnson kind of button heads. And obviously, you know, with DJ Moore last year, there was a lot of issues in camp, you know, obviously different coaching staff, but, you know, it seems like much of the same. And, you know, I don't know what the penalty would be for trading him because he did sign an extension last year and there was a lot of guaranteed money on that extension. But I mean, if things aren't going that way and they ultimately end up favoring Rome Odunze, they may try to cut bait. And, you know, there are plenty of teams that need a top wide receiver. Let's be honest. And if they really believe in Burden and they want to get Colston Loveland more involved, Moore's kind of an accessory at that point.
I don't know how the trade works, but his dead cap hit is $60 million.
Yeah.
It's pretty much untradeable.
I was just going to say, so there's the contract. You don't see a lot of like big in-season trades because there's so many pieces and parts that would need to be figured out. The other part is DJ Moore is still enough in his prime that Chicago's not going to give him away. Certainly not with everything that was like moved around in that deal. And no team's going to pay the price that Chicago is likely to want from them. I would say it's unlikely he gets traded during the season. If he's going to move, you're going to have to see some very good wide receiver one get hurt in the preseason, and he would have to have already pissed Ben Johnson off, or it'll be after the season. So.
Chicago, if you want to send him to New England, we'll happily accept. Thank you. I would like to get rid of Stephon Diggs as soon as possible. That would be much preferred. Thank you. I would appreciate that. Been wanting DJ Moore on this team for a while. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all she wrote for rounds 9 through 12, ADP values, best and worst. Some fun debates, some heated debates. Me calling people idiots. It's another day, another week on Club Fantasy. Kendall, thanks for coming back.
Yeah, of course.
And not being, straight away by everything we do here.
Yeah, she was like 80%. She was 90% right today outside of Rachaad White.
Yeah, there we go. I'll happily be wrong about Rachaad White. No, I appreciate you guys. It's always fun.
As of right now, Rachaad White is lining up to be my biggest victory lap if it does pan out.
Yeah.
And that happened.
Joe's gonna have 100% exposure to Rachaad White.
He's going to be my 6th running back by the time I draft him. So there's a chance that I do just take him. Kendall, one time, where can everybody find you and your work?
Yeah, K Valenzuela 17 over there on X or X, Twitter, whatever we call it now. And then upgraded Fantasy Life website. Can't say enough good things about it. Everyone worked so hard on that for a really long time. So we've got just upgraded all our upgraded tools. We've got floor ceiling projections, all of our rankings, again, all full projections as well. And then, it's just really cool. If anyone hasn't checked it out, make sure you go over there. I'll give you my SiriusXM code SXM20, gets you 20% off any Fantasy Life Plus subscription. So tier 1 or tier 2, your choice. Highly recommend tier 2, but we did great work over there, and it was really fun to be able to now see it in the open. So it's a big week for Fantasy Life. We're happy.
I saw Fantasy Life magazine in the airport when I was traveling back from Pennsylvania. I was tempted to buy it and go through and point out all the inaccuracies that I thought were wrong. That's my favorite.
Do it anyway. Just buy it.
I know it's outdated. So I love doing our fantasy magazines because I know they're outdated.
Just buy it for Sam Holt's artwork.
Yes, the art is so good.
It was a very well designed. It caught my eye because I saw it. I was like, oh, Fantasy Life. I know
so
people.
Fun. Yeah. Do it for the artwork. For Sam.
Yes. Well, I am back in an airport in 2 weeks. So if I see one in the airport, I will buy one.
Support Sam Holt.
Yeah, for Sam Holt and the boys and girls over at Fantasy Life. For Josh,
You can also
Ryan,
check out Kendall in the Women of Fantasy Football Gods
Yes.
and Goddesses tournament.
Yes,
Oh.
I'm so excited about that.
Yes.
Our league was
We're actually doing a Gods and Goddesses mock draft on Mock Girl Summer tomorrow night.
Nice.
Yeah, got Howard Bender joining Sam and Wendy, and I'll be
What
on
time
there
is
as
that
well,
on?
so we can 10 p.m. Eastern right
Great.
here
So
on
I
the Club
can-
Fantasy
I can-
channel, as well as the Women of Fantasy channel.
Great.
Woo.
So I can pound Love Island and then turn on Mock Girl.
There we go.
Mock draft.
You get it.
I just want to make sure I'm locked in.
We'll have all the breakdown of the scoring and where all the charitable contributions and stuff are going to be a part of and all that good jazz. So
Sweet.
Boom. For Josh, myself, Ryan, and Kendall, you can follow Club Fantasy on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Club Fantasy FFL. The URL, clubfantasyffl.com. Always remember, defense wins championships, offense wins fantasy football. We will see you next week.